I am Antinous, son of Euthyphus. I am eternally stuck in this wretched, filthy place called the House of the Dead because of one man. Odysseus, hero of the Trojan War, was my killer, and now he leaves my body, dead and rotting, thrown away like a piece of trash. And today I am going to tell you, heroes of war, robbers, and all dead men alike, the story of my death. As a child, I sat in my home admiring the palace of King Odysseus and Queen Penelope. Ithaca, a quaint island, held no significance to the outside world. However, to the people that lived there, it was a rocky homeland filled with succulent pastures for their herds. I dreamt of myself sitting in the throne ruling over my homeland. I was destined to be king. When Odysseus left for Troy and did not return, I, being the responsible leader that I am, decided that I would become the king of Ithaca. There was just one problem, however, that evil temptress, Penelope, whose wiles deceived even I, the smartest of the suitors. 3 years she weaved a shroud for his miserable father, Laertes. 3 years she went on with her fraudulent lies, telling us that as soon as she finished she would finally choose a husband. But during the dead, dark night, she would unweave all the work she had done. It was not until one of the maids told us that I was able to realize she was deceiving us. We forced her to finish, that it was only a matter of time before her choice was to be made, which was obviously going to be me. I decided to make myself at home in the palace and live like the king I was. I dressed in majestic purple robes and a sparkling silver crown, so all the other suitors knew my wealth and power. I was meant to be king. As I sat in the palace eating food and drank fit for a king, I saw Penelope elegantly descend the steps. Her subtle beauty intrigued me and only made me desire her more as my bride. As I wooed her with my seductive voice, I could feel her willpower dwindling. She would soon give in and marry me. Odysseus, to my surprise, did return to Ithaca, he being too cowardly to show his face disguised as a squalid beggar. He incessantly begged for food. I knew what he was doing the whole time. One night he went too far with his desires, and being the man of the house, I decided that it was time to teach him a lesson once and for all. I insulted that low-born bastard and threw a stool at his miserable body. Then, to add to the numerous problems that arose within my palace, Telemachus, son of Odysseus, decided to finally stand up for himself. In the years that I had been in the palace, Telemachus had not once moved from the corner of the room, sulking and whining like a child. I was simply unable to believe it. So obviously, a man with courage and determination like me would be enraged at the phony facade that he was attempting to hold up, so I mocked him in all his so-called bravery. The beggar and now Telemachus? All of these problems were really taking a toll on my flawless leadership, which was going to need to be at its best since I heard numerous rumors that Penelope was going to hold a competition and the winner would be her husband. A few days later, a contest was held between the suitors to see who could string Odysseus' majestic bow and then shoot it through the holes of axes. This was a very difficult task, but there was nothing that I could not handle. I, being the generous man that I am, let all the other men go before me, and just as I expected, they all failed. Struck with hunger, I ordered a food break, but before I could leave, I spotted that wretched beggar turning the bow in his hand. What a spectacle! This mockery of a man thinking that he was going to be able to even get his hands around that bow. I was so astonished by his audacity that I took a long swig of my wine. It was then that I saw the beggar strip off all his rags, string the bow, and aim his arrow straight in my direction. Snap! Odysseus released the arrow, and the last thing I can remember seeing was that ghastly silver arrow coming straight towards my neck. By now, you obviously know that I died. The arrow went straight through my neck and out the other side. Although this was a horribly unglorified way to die, I will, however, die with some fame. If it were not for me, Odysseus' desperate desire for revenge would be a figment of the imagination. I, too, however, have one hope for him, that he will burn in the deep, fiery depths of earth for what he did to me. To take a man like me out of this world deserves a punishment that no mortal man can handle.